Follow Stay Live Streams at Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube.
Who keep us safe? No justice. No
They're supposed to be helping us. That doesn't make sense.
On the date of May 28, 2020, there were thousands of people who joined in unison at 600 West Jefferson as they demanded justice for Breonna Taylor and fight and demand for an end to systemic racism. 600 West Jefferson would soon be known as Breeway, the Square, and Injustice Square Park, which is ground zero and home for protesters and the memorial honoring Breonna Taylor. Breeway, or the Square if you will, was so much to so many people because of everything that was happening there. It was ground zero. There was either a march being led from there, led to there. There were music celebrations. It was a time to take up space. And it was a location of celebration of victories, and also the location where the memorial was kept honoring Breonna Taylor and honoring those who had fallen, standing up for justice for Breonna Taylor. One day, the city of Louisville decided that they no longer wanted to allow the memorial to be there at 6th and Jefferson. They would remove any piece of it that was left after 11 p.m. So, those in the square decided to take the pieces back themselves. Some of it being taken to the Mammoth, and some of it being taken to Roots 101 Museum. Although the memorial was put in a safe place, it left the square barren, empty, and to some degree, a sense of lifelessness.
Breonna is part of a national movement, and for the city not to recognize her is just mind-blowing to me. I been traveling across the country for the past year and a half now, and I go to George Floyd. He got a whole square, just go George Floyd Square, 2 blocks of just memorabilia and honoring just people lost in the movement. Dante Wright, he got a whole block. It's just like you go to these other cities, and their city officials recognize the tragedy that's happened in their city, and here it is. You come to Louisville, where thousands of people done came across the country here to this very same spot, and to this day, right now, there's nothing here, nothing to honor her, nothing that resembles that there even was a tragedy here in Louisville. And it's like they try to sweep it up under the rug, and for me personally, it's hurtful. It's like, how do you not recognize this young woman who y'all tragically killed, an innocent young woman that y'all tragically killed, that sparked a national movement. So she definitely needs something in her honor here permanently, so her legacy can live on here in Louisville.
City officials announced plans to install a marker at Jefferson Square Park to recognize Taylor's killing and its significance in the 2020 protests. It will pay homage to Breonna Taylor, David McAtee, and Tyler Girth. The marker also acknowledges protesters naming the space Injustice Square Park in their fight for racial equality. One local demonstrator says the park is always about community, and he's glad it's finally receiving recognition.
Upon hearing this news story, I thought to myself, there are 3 things wrong with this news story. Number 1, there were 2 names left off of the list that should and deserve to be on this plaque: Travis Najdy and Chris Rock.
Travis grew so much in this protest, and to not have him be named.
Them being a big part of the movement, it's definitely just sad that they didn't include them, especially, Travis was out here daily, Chris Smith was a big advocate for Breonna Taylor, so it was definitely something that needs to be revised, and they should most definitely be included in the plaque.
Number 2. Ms. Tamika Palmer, Breonna Taylor's mother, did not even want this plaque, despite the fact that then Chief of Community Building said that he contacted each and every family member.
He did mention at that time, they're trying to come up with a permanent placard for the park, that would honor Breonna and, the protests and everything that happened. Mm-hmm. And I said, okay, it sounds good, but we would have to see what that would look like and he informed me definitely everybody will be involved and what from that point on. And I said, absolutely. I've never heard from him again.
Number 3. When the oppressor tells the oppressed how to fight oppression, that in itself is oppressive. In other words, the city can't present what it believes healing should look like to the protest community. That is up to the protesters. The historical marker that the city planned to place in the northeast side of the square was never built. The square remained empty. And empty. And empty. With thousands of people coming into Louisville, Kentucky for the Kentucky Derby, there were hundreds of people that would venture down to the square to see anything and everything they could to get a sense of what took place there at the square, with many days of protesting. In an attempt for tourists to not see an empty square, I reached out to the artist of the main Breonna Taylor mural, Aaron Conway, to create a duplicate of his work to put in the square at the risk that the city would tear it down and take it away. The duplicated memorial consisted of new works, such as posters and the new printed mural, and works that had been already created that weren't duplications. The memorial survived one night, but the very next night, the city of Louisville had had enough. The items were taken to the city dump, and if memory serves correct, the city told us that we can pick them up the very next day. And that's exactly what we did. This event built more credence that there needed to be something permanently there, in the square at 6th and Jefferson, honoring Breonna Taylor and the protesters who stood up and fought for justice for Breonna Taylor, permanently. Until that would happen, there was a crew formed, referred to as the Memorial Crew. With myself included, we would set up the memorial in the morning and take it down later that night and put it back in a safe location. There were new works created, not the least of which was a very informative banner that read the following.
Louisville police don't want you to see the face of the woman they murdered. Breonna's memorial was created by the community to honor a life taken too soon. For over a year, the Louisville Police Department has brutalized and arrested those that come to demand justice, to heal, to mourn, and to be in community. Each morning, the entire memorial is set up by volunteers and must be removed every night by order of the city government. Or everything in Injustice Square is taken to the city dump. Until there is justice for Breonna and significant reform, help us make this sacred, historic space permanent by reaching out to Metro Council representatives, the mayor's office, and city departments. Demand justice. Make them hear the people.
Many have messaged, written, and chanted that there needs to be something permanent there at the square, honoring Breonna Taylor, but not made by the city, rather Breonna Taylor's family and community.
Well, it definitely needs to be something more than just a plaque, you know what I mean? It would be nice if, we do like a submission where artists around the world can kind of submit their ideas and, get Tamika's input on like her vision of it, and just come together and make something like really nice, really big, something, you know, memorable. Like people travel, you know, to come and try to honor her, and then they get here and there's nothing. I thought the change.org was a good idea, a good way to show the city officials that, you know, not only the community but the world is on board with having a permanent memorial to honor Breonna, and we can use that, you know, we're getting this project together and say, here, you know, we got 100,000 people to sign this petition, and if that doesn't show you like that there needs to be something in her honor, then
Sign the petition. Make a Facebook post with yourself or a friend at the memorial at the square. Hashtag Permanent Project, and encourage your friends to sign the petition. If you're a Black artist or know a Black artist who would be interested in getting involved in making this permanent installation, please reach out to Justice for Louisville, either on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or TikTok. And of course, if you do nothing else, I hope you stay live.